Hello all, my name is Jillian Junkins. I am a graduate student through the University of Oklahoma. This project, titled Assessing the Evolution of the Republic of Georgia's Energy Security, is to satisfy a class requirement for the Energy Security Fall 2018 course. It is imperative to start the presentation off with a map to place Georgia geographically. It is not the state of Georgia within the United States, but the sovereign republic located within the Caucasus region. It is also imperative to make note of the proximity to the other nations as well as the disputed territories, especially those with Russia, pointed out in orange, and Azerbaijan, pointed out in green. The presentation will be laid out in this format. First, I will go over definitions and abbreviations I will use. Then I will address the research question. Following that, I will define the dimensions of energy security in which I will use to evaluate the level of energy security within the Republic of Georgia. I will then give a background on Georgia's energy insecurity to explain the starting point of my research in the early 2000s and why the research is relevant and important. I will then address the central claim of my research on whether Georgia has improved their energy security standpoint since the rupture. I will follow this up directly with examples and data to substantiate my central claim. I will then conclude the presentation with a brief summary as well as any policy suggestions regarding the energy security moving forward. Lastly, my work cited will wrap this up for the data used. Photo credit for each picture used is on the screen with the picture, such as the one on the right of this slide, of a hydroelectric dam in the Itsari region in the northwest of Georgia. The Ingui Power Station, which opened in 1978, is still functioning. The definitions and abbreviations used within this presentation are BTC, the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline, which runs from Azerbaijan to Turkey. BTE is the Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum pipeline, which runs from Kazakhstan to Turkey. The Democratic Republic of Georgia will be simply referred to as Georgia, but will remain differentiated from the United States state of Georgia. Energy security, for the purpose of this presentation, is defined as the uninterrupted availability of energy sources at an affordable price. SCP is the South Caucasus Pipeline. SOCAR is the State Oil Company of Azerbaijan. The research question used was, has the Republic of Georgia repaired the energy circumstances that led to the rupture in the country's energy security in 2006? Energy security through this presentation is going to be evaluated using the dimensions of energy security. The first of this is availability or supply. Where is this coming from? Is it domestically produced or internationally produced? All of Georgia's natural gas and petroleum are imported, whereas they produce most of their electricity domestically through hydroelectric power. The second is affordability, the cost to humans. In this aspect, natural gas is the most secure energy source. Acceptability is the environmental aspect. What are the environmental costs associated? Do these impose large costs on society as a whole? Pollution is one of these. Coal, which is only 6% of the consumption of the country, is the most harmful source of energy in Georgia, whereas biomass, a renewable source of clean energy, generally, firewood consumption poses a threat to the environment, so biomass cannot be considered a secure source of energy within Georgia. Georgia gained its independent sovereignty in the late 20th century, but few border regions with Russia remain contested territory to date. This is relevant because prior to the rupture in security, Georgia imported natural gas almost exclusively from Russia, as well as a large portion of electricity, especially through the winters. On July 1, 2003, Georgia signed a 25-year strategic partnership agreement with Gazprom, Russia's state gas company. This created a Russian monopolized gas market where the right to import, transport, and distribute gas were granted to a single company. The following years of 2004 to 2005 involved Georgia being indebted to Gazprom to the tune of $7.4 million, sparking negotiations with Gazprom regarding the sale of state-owned gas companies, the Rustavi chemical plant, and the main pipelines to cover debts, but also to substantial monetary payment to Georgia. The Russian side also promised support in solving the issue in the disputed territory of South Ossetia in exchange for the main pipelines. However, this would have allowed Russia greater control within Georgia and would have removed the possibility to obtain cheap gas from Azerbaijan. Threats from Russian officials ensued. Then came the rupture. The picture is of the ruptured natural gas pipeline. The rupture in Georgia's energy security occurred on January 22, 2006, when the Mozdok-Tbilisi natural gas pipeline exploded, followed immediately by the explosion of an electricity transmission line. 2006 was the coldest winter Georgians had faced in more than 20 years, and the explosions left all natural gas shut off to the country, as well as 25% of the country's electricity supply. Many Georgians were out of heat for as long as 10 days, until emergency gas was imported from Azerbaijan. Following the rupture, Russia imposed an economic embargo on Georgia and increased the price of natural gas from $110 to $235. The central claim for this research is that it is inconclusive whether Georgia has addressed many of the circumstances that allowed the rupture in 2006 to occur, therefore strengthening the nation's energy security standpoint, although they have implemented many policies that are strengthening themselves. Following the 2006 rupture, Georgia focused on strengthening its energy security standpoint by increasing their energy efficiency domestically, developing alternative energy sources such as solar, geothermal, and wind. Georgia is the first nation in the South Caucasus region to house a commercial wind plant, which was recently introduced in 2016 and will theoretically export to Turkey on top of sustaining Georgia's winter electricity needs. The diversification of supply sources, including the introduction of natural gas from Azerbaijan consistently in 2007. They participate in more export-import operations such as the BTE and BTC pipelines. They also receive 5% of gas transported through the SCP pipeline with priority right to purchase more at the prearranged low rate of $63 with annual 2% increase. They created more favorable conditions for local and foreign investment. This allowed the wind power plant to take shape. They have constructed above and underground storage facilities to contain natural gas. There were no reserves prior to 2006. 2006 to 2009, wholesale vendors had to have in reserve no less than 10% of consumption, rising to 15% by 2019. They have done greater research internally on oil and gas beds, although these have proven Georgia cannot reach self-sustainability on domestic oil and gas. They have also placed regulations to avoid market monopolization. No person or company can purchase more than 60% of power generation and distribution. From data collected in 2003, Georgia's supply of energy sources before the rupture were 45% renewable energy, 28% natural gas, 23% petroleum, 3% electricity, and 1% coal. In 2015, their sources of energy were 43% natural gas, 99% of which was from Azerbaijan and Russia, 27% petrol and crude oil from Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, and Kazakhstan, 15% hydroelectrical, which accounted for 70 to 80% of electricity, 8% biomass, and 6% coal. Being that this data is from 2015, it does not account for the wind power plant, allowing Georgians electric sustainability on clean energy, nor the geothermal, which has proven to exist in thermal aquifers within Georgia. The effect of the policy implementations after the rupture are: Georgia is now more interconnected through various pipelines within the region. This makes it less effective and costlier to shut off or damage pipelines in an effort of sabotage, which is what the 2006 rupture was suspected to be by Russia. Also giving them different options in the case of price increases or economic embargoes. They are now 100% self-sufficient with producing electricity domestically, even in the winter when hydroelectric production is low. Prior to 2006, Georgia was extremely vulnerable to the political whims of Russia due to their heavy reliance on the Russian natural gas. It is now inconclusive whether Georgia has strengthened their energy standpoint since the rupture in 2006. This is because of the lack of specific qualitative data on the topic surrounding the price Georgians pay for their different energy sources, as well as uncertain percentage of natural gas Georgia receives from Russia and Azerbaijan, respectively.